I don't expect you to understand or believe these kind of things. Sadhguru. When I look back now, it was all there. But I was such a super smart guy. Actually, many small things happened before this. It's just that I was too arrogant to see it. I was not sensitive enough to see anything small. I had to be bombed to see it. If I accept that these things are happening, I had to accept that I've been stupid all the time. So I was not willing to give up the mantle of being a smart man and see that you've been a stupid fool, not realizing fundamentals of the nature of your existence. So I had to be really bombed out for me to come to terms with it. I was into business by then and very successful for those times. Nobody expected me to be that successful in such a short span of time. Of course, I'm doing a whole lot of circus. My schedule was like morning 5:30 to 11 in the night every day, I'm on. But when everything that you do is working and successful, slowly you begin to think the planets are not going around the sun, they're actually doing their rounds around you. Such a state of absolute certainty about everything. You're young, everything is working, people around you are clapping their hands. So one afternoon, I had nothing much to do between two business meetings. This was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I sat on a particular rock. My eyes were still open. Suddenly I did not know which is me and which is not me. Till that moment I knew this is me, that is somebody else. Somebody is a world of distance. I was sitting there, the very air that I breathed, the rock, everything had become me. What is me had just exploded all over the place. I thought this insanity lasted for about 5–10 minutes. But when I came back to my normal senses, about 4.5 hours had passed. I'm sitting right there, fully conscious, eyes open. Sun has set. For the first time in my adult life, tears. Me and tears were impossible. I remember when I was 8 years of age, something happened and tears came. I made up my mind, never again in my life another teardrop is ever going to come out of my eyes. And I kept it up till now, till I was 25. And here I am, my shirt is wet. To that extent, 4.5 hours tears have been running. And I never realized it's 4.5 hours, I thought it's just about 10 minutes. I've always been peaceful and happy. But every cell in my body is opening up like a flower. I'm dripping with ecstasy. When I shake my head and ask my skeptical mind, what's happening to me? The only thing my mind could say was, you may be going off your rocker. I speak to the closest of my friends, something happening to me. The only questions that I got from them was, what did you drink? Did you pop something? This is all. What I'm trying to say is there was no context anywhere for me. I did not grow up in any spiritual traditions. I had not heard of any such thing. I was too arrogant to be exposed to anything. I was busy with my own thing, my own wild ways of doing things. Here I am, something totally extraordinarily different happening to me. The next time that it happened is significant because there were people around me. I went and sat at the dinner table with my family. I actually thought it's 2 minutes. About 7 hours had passed. I'm right there, eyes open, fully conscious. Just time. It doesn't make logical sense. I don't expect you to understand or believe these kind of things. It's just that time would just flip. Once I sat down, I thought it's about 25–30 minutes. When I opened my eyes, a big crowd had gathered. Garlands all over me, people trying to pull my feet. And somebody wants to know about his business. Somebody wants to know when his daughters will get married. I said, what? Where did you all come from? They said, you've been sitting here for 13 days. I thought, this is crazy. And I tried to open my legs, my knees were stuck. They had to bring hot water and massage me, and it took me almost an hour and a half to get my knees moving. Then I had to leave the place to avoid that tension, and by then, in about 6 weeks' time, the way I walk changed without any effort. My voice changed, the shape of my eyes changed. People around me could see something fundamental was changing within me. What happened within me I can never articulate, descended on me with such a weight to come to terms with that. Suddenly everything around me and everybody that I knew for a lifetime looked like absolute strangers. And it was… I cannot say it was difficult, definitely it was daunting. It was huge. So my skeptical mind kicked in and said, this can't be true, because if I accept this is true, I have been an utter idiot all my life. I don't like that. So I traveled. Next year and a half I just traveled, and this took me to various places. Every one of those places that I saw were 100% the way I had seen in my mind. And since then what's happened within me is more fairy tale-ish than a fairy tale. I don't expect anybody to believe. People around me see this on a daily basis. It's quite ridiculous if you look at it, if you analyze it. But if you elevate yourself and look down, it's such a fantastic coordinated design. It's unbelievable. No human being can logically ever arrive at this and say, okay, I've gotten it. It's too much, at the same time everything is so cohesive and so fantastic. When you see it, there is no way you can ever remain the same person. So since then my life has been just to make devices through which somehow you rub off this experience on people, even if it's for a moment. I can tell you millions of people today, if they just as much as close their eyes, tears of ecstasy will dribble down. They do not know the ultimate, but just the fragrance of the ultimate just breaks them up, dissolves them. This is something that must happen to every human being before we fall dead. Whether before you fall dead you become a billionaire or not, I do not know. That's subject to many things. Whether you climb Mount Everest or not, I do not know whether you have the legs or the lungs for that. Whether you're going to run 100 meters in 7 seconds or not, I do not know. But before you fall dead, at least you must know this piece of life in its entirety. I want you to understand this, all of you. We are all differently capable. What you can do, I cannot do. What I can do, you cannot do, that's a fact. And that's how it will always be, and it's wonderful it's that way. But once you look at your interiority, there is no human being here who is better equipped than the other. In your physicality, you may be better equipped than the other. In your psychological space, you may be better equipped than the others. In your interiority, you are neither worse nor better than anybody else. I'm not any better than any one of you or anybody in this world, for that matter, internally. In your interiority, all of us are equally capable. This is not something which depends on your competence. This only simply depends on your intention and willingness. This is not a question of competence at all. So it is never ever out of reach It is just that we're looking in a different direction altogether. This is important and important because if you pass this life without knowing the nature of what this is, in my opinion, it's a wasted life. It doesn't matter what achievements you might have done in the world. If you leave this place without knowing this piece of life in its entirety, it's a wasted life because what this is bigger than anything that we can ever think of doing in this world.